All right, we got a big New York metro area hockey showdown going on later as the Devils and Islanders face off at UBS Arena. It's the second matchup between the local rivals this season. So let's preview the matchup with the host of NHL Today with Kasey Hudson. That is on SportsGrid, the one and only Kasey Hudson joins me now. Case, what's going on?
Oh, I'm so good. I got to watch some college hockey last night, Harvard versus Princeton, and I actually went to the first Islanders versus Devils showdown in Prudential
Ah,
Center. So it's going to be pretty sick to see how things stack up now come the later round between these two Metro teams.
yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Glad you got out to see some hockey. I thought of you yesterday because I was like, oh, it's actually feeling cold out now. I wonder how Casey is
Oh,
holding up with the weather here in New York now, being new to the area. You holding up okay?
frozen.
Frozen
No,
already. Oh,
frozen.
okay.
I lost my fingers from being in the Princeton rink, and then the walk to the car was like glass across my face. It felt like it was 12 degrees at Princeton last night. But you know what? I'm getting acclimated some way or another.
All right, there you go. Getting acclimated. That's good. Let's talk about these teams. Now, the Devils, they've been impressive offensively lately. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. So, heading into this matchup, what is working for New Jersey right now on the offensive end?
Oh, I think it's as simple as the fact that they're starting to figure out their lines, and we're seeing these lines begin to gel together. We've seen a number of line combinations out of the Devils. It's just what's going to stick. So, at one point I was excited because we saw Paul Cotter on that second line, but right now he's hanging out on the third line with Nason, and they've got a pretty formidable third line coming into this season. So it's going to be intense to see how they stack versus the Islanders this time. And then more importantly, we're starting to see that spark between Hughes and Bratt and Andre Palat. And as you guys know, as a former Tampa Bay Lightning reporter, I know a lot about Andre Palat and what he can bring to the table. And his team has just been loyal and supportive of him taking that next step to help out on that second line. So we're seeing consistency in the lines. We're seeing these lines begin to gel together, but more importantly, they've gone through 6 different line options. So finding that consistency and that spark is crucial. And that's what the Devils have done. And to be such a fast paced offense, that's going to be key and them having an advantage in tonight's matchup.
That is going to be key, and that brings me to where I wanted to go next, Casey, because on the other hand, the Islanders, their defense has been consistent, but the Devils, you talk about the fast pace of them, their speed, that's hard to counter. So how do you expect the Islanders' defensive pairings to handle New Jersey's quick transitions?
Yeah, it's going to be a tall task for the Islanders tonight because, for one, in the previous matchup at Prudential earlier in the season, Romanov was a key piece to the Islanders having success and kind of holding things down in their defensive zone. So I'm not seeing him in the lineup for tonight. He's been out with an injury for a number of situations now. You've got some young guys coming in to help out. There was a lot of excitement around Isaiah George, and he performed very well after getting the tap on the shoulder to come up to the Islanders and help out there. So it's not that it's that dire without Romanov in the mix, but he was a key contributor in helping this defense out. Mayfield has so much size, and you just saw a lot of big plays out of him as well at Prudential Center the first time these two teams met. But the big thing is going to be the Islanders finding the consistency they had in the first matchup between them and the Devils. It's going to be being able to not let the Devils set up in their zone, and that's something that they did very well in that first one. Every time the New Jersey Devils used their speed to try to get set up, the Islanders were able to take that away from them, disrupt their structure, and then get the puck back over into the O zone. So if they can kind of bring that same defensive mind and structure into this game, it's going to be really close. It's going to be toe-to-toe all over again. It went into overtime. Islanders coming out on top 4-3 the first time, but they're going to have a bigger storm to weather with this Devils team that knows the identity of these 4 lines as of today.
Yeah, they know the identity, and they've been playing really well. As I said, the Devils winning 4 out of their last 5 games. So when you look at this game, important game, I should say, in the Metropolitan Division, which players from each team do you think could be difference makers in this contest, either with their scoring, physicality, or leadership? Who are the players that can make a difference in this one?
Oh, this one's going to be so exciting for me. There's a couple of guys that I've just been bragging about the past 2 weeks. So starting on the Devils side, I kind of really touched on this. You got Hughes, Bratt, and Palat that have started to find their gelling. And that's a scary thing when Jack Hughes starts to get hot, especially Bratt. But more importantly, Andre Palat leads the roster in takeaways, 10 on the season thus far. If he's taking away the puck and setting up Hughes and Bratt, it's going to be a dangerous, long night for the Devils versus the Islanders. So that's the line that you're going to want to keep a close eye on. I know Nico Hischier has been extremely hot as well, but you want to have that depth scoring, and Palat, Hughes, and Bratt are creating that opportunity for the Devils. Someone else that I've been high on for the Devils is going to be Paul Cotter, and he's going to be on that third line he was one of the players that was actually leading in takeaways until Andre Palat took over that role. But more importantly, he leads this roster in hits. So you've got a number of players on this Devils team that can separate guys from the puck and have that puck hound mentality, making sure that they have as many scoring chances and opportunities as possible. So the pace is going to be that much more intense for the Devils versus the Islanders. So I'm looking at that second line, but I'm still looking at Paul Cotter and his numbers. Also, the penalties that he has the ability to draw. He can get under Mayfield's skin tonight and get them in some good special team positions. And when it comes to special teams, the Devils are going to edge the Islanders in that aspect. Hopping over to the Islanders side, because I want to give them some love too. Kyle Palmieri has been the shoulder of this team, and that second line is going to bring in a lot of competition between Palmieri and Brock Nelson. You got two guys that had 30-goal seasons last year, and that leadership is coming in extremely stout for this Islanders team. But Palmieri, he was the guy that pulled them through versus that tight competition versus the Penguins, and he just continues to be that key guy. Picked up a goal versus them in the last matchup, and he's just been so consistent game by game, and they're starting to get a really good rhythm going for their second line. Let's not forget, Islanders don't really have a top line. Barzal is out. Duclair went to LTIR. So with all the shakeups going on there, they've always had the shots on goal. They've had the scoring chances. They're one of the top teams when it comes to producing that in the Metro. Now we got to see how well they capitalize versus the New Jersey Devils team. So it's going to be Kyle Palmieri for me and the guys that I named over for the Devils for your top players to watch in tonight's matchup.
A lot of good players to watch in this matchup tonight. And last thing for me, Case, is we know it's early in the season, but how might this game affect each team's confidence or positioning as they aim for playoff spots in a competitive Metropolitan Division? And I want to get a prediction from you, too. Who do you like to come out on top in this one?
Oh, no pressure, right, Dexter?
I always got to give you a little bit of pressure, Case. Come on.
I can't talk smack about the Metro. It's so tough. But as for the confidence, it's going to be crucial because this Metro actually just became that much more tight in terms of the race to the top. You know, while the Rangers hold the lead in that conversation, you've got a Capitals team that made the right adjustments. They were good defensively. They had really good goaltending. They couldn't score for the life of them. Now they're scoring. They're averaging 4+ goals per game. So with that, you've got a narrow margin between what the expectation is for the Devils and what the result can be for the Islanders. And the Islanders have great goaltending in Sorokin. He has literally stood on his head for this team. They've gotten better defensively. They needed to figure out how to find the back of the net. They do that. They minimize that margin. And now they're clipping at the heels of a Devils team that while they're fast, there has been some slip-ups in their defense. I mean, Hamilton and Dillon were one of the top D pairings in the league with giving up goals just a week ago. So the margin for error is just becoming this small. And with that being said, any competition between two Metro teams is going to be high, and coming out on top is going to be an extreme confidence boost. So Godspeed to both of these teams. Islanders took the first meet. Devils are primed in position to match that pace and probably make this a 1-1 split in terms of victory tonight.
All right, there we go. We will see how it plays out tonight at UBS Arena. Devils visiting the Islanders should be a good one, an important one in the Metro Division. That is Kasey Hudson. Check her out on SportsGrid, hosting NHL Today with Kasey Hudson. That is every Friday at 2 o'clock. Tap in, the best hockey show out there, in my opinion. So there goes that. Case, I appreciate you. Enjoy the game. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, as always, Dexter.
Anytime.